everybody, this is Rob from Man Sewing, and you won't believe what I found in the mail today. Now, I knew we had a lot of fans out there, and this is really exciting, so thank you all for following along on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and the newsletter. We love that you're out there. But years ago, I had received this awesome thank you note. Now, this one came to me in an envelope, right? It's made on a card, but it's pieced and quilted, and what a really nice thank you note that was. And this was when I did a presentation at a quilt guild, so that's a really nice touch. Thank you for that. But look what else I received in the mail recently. This is so cool. It is a little fabric postcard. That's right. This thing could be shipped to you because it's got a cool stabilizer, a Peltex inside. So let me tell you what the fans are saying. All right. Much better. Now, dear Rob, thank you for Man Sewing. We think it rocks. Can you join us for a quilting campout? Love, your fans. Oh, isn't that wonderful? So yes, I would love to join you for a quilting campout. As a matter of fact, we're going to make a quilting campout postcard just like this one right now for you here at Man Sewing. So let's get ourselves started. One of the fun things you're going to want to start with is something like this. This is called Peltex. Now, Peltex is an extra thick, heavy stabilizer, but it can certainly still be stitched through. Most postcards are 4 inches by 6 inches, so I've pre-cut this, and that's going to kind of be my template as I work all of us through this demonstration, right? There's another product you should know about, and I believe this one is called Peltex. And if I move it just right in the light, you might be able to see there's a little bit of a sheen on there. And that sheen is a fusible product, so you could actually iron to that. Different reasons for different stabilizers as always. I prefer this really thick one there. I'm going to use this. I've got one I haven't marked on, so let's trade that out. I'm also going to need a little bit of scraps of any kind of batting will do. The batting is going to add some of that fun loft and texture. Of course, we're going to want that cool camping fabric, so I had to go hunting, and Quilting Treasures had it. So I'm going to open this up right now because we're going to cut this in just a second. Okay, and when I cut this, I actually look for the motif that I really like. So I'm finding these trees and these mountains and little teepee right there. And I'm laying this on the print side, and I'm going to cut larger. Watch this. Okay, didn't need a ruler, but I kept my hands out of the way. Didn't want to get hurt. Okay, we can set this aside for other cool projects later. So now what we're going to do is we're going to prepare to do some of the free motion machine quilting. And the free motion machine quilting on this is so fun because all you're going to really do is you're going to follow these little lines around the teepee and the hills. So when looking for something like that, you want to find something that's going to be fairly achievable for your style of machine quilting, right? So you can see here where they stitched all around the fantastic stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Peltex or our stabilizer. We're going to put another piece of that batting. Then I'm going to position my fabric, and I'm looking for my motif, and I'm kind of using my hands to make sure that it's fairly centered. And once that is all like that, I'm just going to take it into the sewing machine, drop the feed dogs, put on the free motion foot, and I'm going to stitch around the edges like I did here on this prepped out sample. And this one's cool. I like the other little red tent in this one too. So anyways, I stitched around the edges. I just did my best job. Just do what you can there with it, right? And now that gives it a little bit of texture, a little bit of loft, and just a little bit more creativity in there. Once that part is actually done, what I'd like you to go ahead and do, and the batting I have in here in a couple of different layers. So I am going to cut this using that as my marker again from the top side. Now, you're probably wondering why the batting is on the back of the Peltex. I was playing with multiple layers on this sample, but you can do with 1 layer or you can do with 2 layers. So yeah, it looked a little bit different in both of those, and I wanted to show you the different approaches, but I apologize. I probably didn't make that super clear, right? But now that's trimmed down just like that, okay? Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take just our backing fabric, and I recommend that you do your sewing work first, and then you set up your label portion or your postcard-ish graphic there, because that makes it so you don't have to work so hard to get it just squared out. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take this piece here, and now this is my template. And again, I'm cutting. You want to go nice and slow here because you could easily cut into that Peltex and the fabric and the batting. And then as soon as I have this trimmed out, we're gonna satin stitch to finish the edges. And satin stitch to finish the edges, there's a special trick that some of the machines have with their feet. If you look closely, I bet you have it in your tool tray as well. Check this out. Now this foot here has this little bar, so you should be looking at it like it's facing your machine, or like you're facing the machine, right? It's got this little bar inside the opening where the needle's normally going. That little bar is going to lay right on the edge. See if I can hold still there for you. That's going to lay right on the edge as I'm stitching along so that my needle is zigging in the fabric and zagging on the other side of that bar. And that's what gives a nice finished edge for our satin stitch. So as I'm setting this up, I'll lay this here so you can see what we're doing. And I literally took 2 complete laps around the card just to lock in all of the fiber. My satin stitch is set at a 4.5 millimeter wide zigzag, and it's a pretty short stitch length. It's a 0.5 stitch length. Now, every machine's slightly different, even though that's supposed to be a standard measurement. What I'm trying to say is do a little practice run, make sure you like the way it looks. Now, I have that specialty foot on there, and there's no faster way that I can think of to break a needle than to just hit the gas. So I'm going to literally hand crank, and I'm making sure that I've come clear of the needle on one side, and I'm now diving into the fabric on the other. I'm going to give one more test, and now let's go ahead and take it nice and slow, and we're just going to go ahead and satin stitch by machine around the edge. Now, it's kind of dense in there, so I'm kind of pushing, and that's where that nice Timtex is really a benefit, because I can use the Timtex like a wedge. I'm just helping give myself a nice little push through the machine that way. And that way I also don't have to do such a dense satin stitch because I'm going to go around this twice. That's one of my tricks there. I have a nice cotton thread on the top, and I also have the matching thread in the bobbin so that if I were having any tension discrepancies, you wouldn't be able to tell. So I'm going to go ahead and enjoy sewing around the edge of this while you start thinking about what you're going to write as you send me a fantastic postcard, right? I think this will be terrific. Last thing, like I said, I want you to think about doing, and you don't actually have to put the lines on it, but you do want to make sure you have a place for your stamp, you've got a place for your address, and there are some also clever little backings and labels that you can find out there that add a little decoration to the back of your fabric as well. Okay, one last tip for you here. This, as awesome as it is, will not do very good if you put it in your DVD-ROM and try to email it to me. So put a stamp on it, send it through the local post, and remember, your computer best serves you on YouTube here at Man Sewing.